The Cataclysm. Celestia's eternal punishment for Tevat's innocent sin. Could it have been prevented? Could anyone have done anything? What if it didn't happen in the first place? What if someone was there to stop it? What if Tevat had Wembanyama?
I want you to love me, love me, love me, love me, love me, yeah, yeah, love me, oh,
To begin this discussion, we must firstly start by having a brief history on what exactly happened during the Cataclysm. 500 years ago, the underground atheist nation of Conria attempted to gain forbidden knowledge by absorbing abyssal power. The king of Conria, otherwise known as Ermin, attempted to gain said forbidden knowledge by having the prince or princess of Conria, aka our sibling, absorb the abyssal power. However, he was warned by a visionary known as Vedrfolnir that in doing so, he would bring about the end of Conria. This enraged King Ermin, who ordered for Vedrfolnir's immediate arrest and torture. Following this, a group of 5 people, aka the Sinners and Dainsleif, assassinated King Ermin to stop his tyranny, but the exposed abyssal power was too much to resist, and the 5 Sinners each took a sixth of said power, with the remaining fraction likely being with our sibling. Due to Conria being exposed to abyssal power and forbidden knowledge, the heavenly principles along with the 7 archons and 4 shades decide to wipe out the entirety of the nation. But before that, one of the Sinners decided to get a little silly and released rifthounds to every part of Tevat. This led to Raiden's sister Makoto dying, the Hydro Archon Egeria dying, and Ruka Devada committing suicide after Erminstill got poisoned with forbidden knowledge. The after effects of the Cataclysm led to an exponential rise of the Hilichurl population in Tevat, Conria being wiped from the map, and the former population of pure-blooded Conrians being cursed with immortality. Bottom line is that the Cataclysm was a result of Conria's pride attempting to put themselves on the level of the gods, but there are a few specific events that led to this tragedy taking place. First was King Ermin attempting to harness abyssal power, second was the 5 Sinners being tempted by the abyss, and third was the heavenly principles and 7 archons along with the 4 shades attacking Conria. And generally speaking, the nation was practically doomed from the start. The people did not have an archon to protect them, and King Ermin was corrupted and practically killing everyone that posed a threat to him. It was only a matter of time before he ended up just killing everyone altogether. Do bear in mind that all the information I have stated is just from my research. There are a lot of theories about the Cataclysm given how vague it is, but it is said that the main cause of it was the Sinners absorbing abyssal power and Daughter releasing rifthounds to every nation in Tevat. Now the question is, what if an alien demigod was present before the Cataclysm? Victor Wembanyama is a 7'5" demigod from France that is in MVP conversations at year 3 of his basketball career. Not only is he uncannily tall, but he is also freakishly athletic, able to convert a layup into a dunk from the free throw line and turn around to do splits before the next game. In terms of physical body, Wemby would be a formidably strong individual, having a tall frame to his build as well as agility to pair. This is not to mention his skills in combat, first of which include his capabilities of attacking at a distance. Zoning is one of the most important aspects of combat, allowing one to prevent their opponent from getting close enough to use physical attacks, effectively forcing them to also play at range. In the 2026 regular season, Wembanyama shot 35% from the 3-point line while attempting 5 to 6 per game. This is a good volume for his size, and if given enough training, would definitely translate to elemental combat. Speaking of which, I don't think I have to mention this because of how obvious it is, but yes, Wembanyama is a Descender. Descenders are Outlanders that have capabilities to change the timeline of Tevat's universe and a title given to those of exceptional power. The info about Descenders isn't exactly clear, but it is said that they have a will that is strong enough to rival the heavenly principles. So in this case, all the Conrians have to do is tell Wemby that Chet Holmgren would win a championship if the Cataclysm were to happen, and now we have a real matchup. Wemby's other strengths also include the power of Chi gained from his time with Shaolin monks, combat intelligence gained from playing chess, and most notably, his defensive instincts. Not only does he survive attacks to the knee from Nu Dort, but he also leads the league in blocks per game with him averaging 3 blocks. Given all of the facts, Wembanyama would be a very strong build with a balance of physicality, skill, and sheer strength, with him being able to wield all 7 elements as a Descender. So now that we know Wembanyama's description, let's put him in the situation. Wemby got sent into a moon gate and was able to escape into the era of Conria pre-Cataclysm, and his only goal is to prevent the fall of Conria. This means that not only will he have to stop the heavenly principles from destroying the nation, he would also have to ensure Conria's safety for the coming years. His preparation time is only a few days before King Ermin is assassinated, which means that many descendants of the Crimson Moon Dynasty have already been killed. So how does he go about preventing the Cataclysm? The first way he could do this is by simply preventing King Ermin from harnessing abyssal power in the first place. However, this would be a very difficult way of going about it, as the Abyss sibling would be by the king's side. Not to mention that King Ermin was already paranoid from the start and would probably have Wembanyama killed right on the spot if he tries to get close. And even then, if King Ermin was to be killed, there would also be the Abyss sibling to talk about, as well as the fact that abyssal power was already being obtained at that point. If Wembanyama was to be the one to kill King Ermin, he would also be the one exposed to forbidden knowledge. It's not worth it to take the risk of Wembanyama turning evil and destroying all of Teyvat. The second option is to kill the 5 sinners before they kill the king, but that isn't really an option because it would instead be King Ermin possessing abyssal power. The best case scenario is that it just delays the Cataclysm, but at worst the Cataclysm just happens either way, with King Ermin being the reason. Technically, this would save every other nation from the Cataclysm, however, it's very likely that the Principals and Archons would still destroy Conria. And remember, our goal is to save even them. And the last option is to fight the Principals, but this is kinda stupid because it doesn't even stop anything. Daughter would still release Rift House to every single nation. So how does Wembanyama go about preventing the Cataclysm? Well, it's actually a mix of the first two options. That being to let the sinners kill King Ermin and defeat the sinners before Celestia attempts to invade Conria. That sounds really bad, but hear me out. In this scenario, the 5 sinners have already absorbed abyssal power and are already setting their sights on rebelling against the Principals. Speaking of which, let's go through each of them one by one. Rerir, otherwise known as the Rakier of Solnari, was King Ermin's personal executioner for all descendants of the Crimson Moon Dynasty, and as a sinner, even in an extremely debilitated and weakened state, was still able to go toe-to-toe against the Traveler and his friends. While the entirety of Teyvat plunged into chaos and Conria was dying, Rerir went into a Moongate in an attempt to find his fiancée, Thalindis. Not much is known about Heroptatir, but he was said to be the advisor to King Ermin prior to the Cataclysm. Speaking of which, during the tragedy, we also don't know what he did, but we know for sure that he too left Conria without notice. We just don't know why or how. Surta Logi is the master of Skirk, currently residing in the Sea of Stars outside of Teyvat, and dubs himself as one of the strongest in the universe. And for good reason, because his favorite activity in life is traveling everywhere except Teyvat to find someone strong to beat up. The reason for this is because he sees no one in Teyvat as a rival to his power, or so the fandom page says. During the Cataclysm, Surta Logi left Conria almost immediately to adopt a large narwhal and has not returned to Teyvat ever since. Daughter is possibly the strongest and most evil of the 5 sinners. She was responsible for inventing the art of chemia, which used alchemy to invent new life. She was dubbed Gold for her numerous contributions to alchemy, such as with plants and animals, and she is also the reason for the release of Durin and thousands of Rift Hounds. She also created Albedo for the art of chemia, and said technique was a key factor as to what provoked the Heavenly Principles. And just like the other sinners, she also left during the Cataclysm. Verofalnir is dubbed as the leader of the 5 sinners and is also the older brother of Dainsleif. He has the ability to see into the future and is heavily connected to the Loom of Fate. His capture is what triggered the assassination of King Ermin and the 5 sinners subsequently succumbing to the Abyss. As he was captured, he was tortured and blinded, so it's no wonder why he immediately left Conria. Now back to Wembanyama. Wembanyama's only allies in this matchup are Dainsleif and the Abyss sibling, and here's how he does it. First off, he has to start by killing Daughter to prevent her from releasing the Rift House to Teyvat. If he can do this as quickly as possible, he can stop the Principals from intervening in the first place, or at least delay them. Second would be to take out Verofalnir. This gives an advantage for Team Wemby, as Verofalnir would not be able to use his foresight to help the rest of the sinners, and from there, he could go in any order of defeating Rerir, Heroptatir, and Surta Logi. So to answer the question, could Victor Wembanyama defeat the 5 sinners and prevent the most terrible tragedy in Teyvat's timeline? Yes! Victor Wembanyama combines intelligence and strength to beat his matchups, and given the fact that he has both the Abyss Twin and Dainsleif to help him, he would have a large advantage against the 5 sinners. Daughter, who is the strongest of the bunch, would get no diff. Her Rift Hounds wouldn't matter because Wemby could straight up just slap them out of the air. Verofalnir, on the other hand, would genuinely give up after seeing that every possible timeline ends with him getting smacked out of existence. Surta Logi would get negative diff. Even if we say that he is Skirk times 10, Wembanyama is Surta Logi times 20. His IQ to think on his feet would be unmatched, and he could not be stopped by by even a guy whose whole life's purpose is fighting over people. And the last two don't even need a conversation. Rary would still be in the Moon Gate anyway, and Haroptatir would get thrown into the stars if he tries to square up against Victor. Yes, they could maybe put up a good fight, but I don't see any of them winning against the sender Wembanyama. There is no other human, even with abyssal power, that could stop the alien, which is why this matchup would be a clean sweep in Victor Wembanyama's favor. Hey y'all, I just want to say thank you for watching today's video. I know it's been some time since the last upload, but if you're still here, thank you so much for putting up with me. Goodbye. But Conria has still exposed abyssal power even if the sinners have been killed, right? Wouldn't the principals be mad? What if they still attack Conria? Could Victor Wembanyama